Am I the a-hole for kicking my boyfriend out at 2 a.m. because of a comment he made about my mom? Okay, so this happened 2 nights ago and I still feel like I'm losing my mind a little. I, 26 female, have been with my boyfriend Caleb, 27 male, for about 8 months. Things have been going well mostly. He's funny, smart, whatever. He just moved in last month, which maybe was too soon in hindsight, but that's not even the point right now. So, my mom, 48 female, has been staying with me for a few days. She was visiting from out of state and her Airbnb canceled last minute, so I told her to just stay with us. She's super chill, like genuinely doesn't get in the way, spends most of the day with her friend group, only comes back late at night and watches Netflix with me for like 30 minutes before going to bed. Anyway, 2 nights ago, we were all just chilling, watching some movie. And at some point, my mom got up and went to bed. No big deal. Then out of nowhere, Caleb turns to me and goes, "Your mom totally wants me." I was like, "Huh?" He laughed and goes, "I mean, did you see the way she looked at me when she came out of the shower earlier? She was wearing an oversized tee and shorts and literally just walked past us to get her phone charger." I was already uncomfortable. I thought maybe he was just being dumb. So I said something like, "That's weird, don't say that." But then he keeps going. He's like, "I swear she was flirting with me at dinner too." And starts imitating her voice like, "Oh, Caleb, you're so funny. You should teach me how to cook sometime." And I just sat there stunned because, first of all, ew. Second of all, my mom was just being nice, like she is to everyone. So I told him flat out that he was being disgusting and disrespectful and he needed to stop. He said I was overreacting and that it was just a joke, but like, that's not a joke. That's weird as heck. So I said, "You know what? Just get out. Go stay at your brother's or something." He thought I was bluffing, but I stood up and literally started grabbing his stuff and putting it by the door. He finally left, but not before telling me I was acting psycho and had major daddy issues, which came completely out of left field. Since then, he's texted me a few times saying I need to chill and that he was just messing around, and I blew it out of proportion. My best friend says she gets why I was upset, but thinks I shouldn't have kicked him out so late and that I probably embarrassed him. My mom doesn't know anything happened. She was already asleep, and I don't want to tell her because I know she'll feel gross about it. But I don't know. It wasn't just a comment. It was the way he doubled down and made it a whole joke at my mom's expense. I've never seen that side of him, and it gave me the biggest ick I've ever felt in my life. So yeah, am I the a-hole for kicking him out in the middle of the night over a joke? "Your mom wants me," is what a high school bully says to your face after stealing your lunch money. This man lives with you, in your home, on your Netflix, and he thinks that was a joke? Not the a-hole. Send him back to his brother's with a receipt. A 27-year-old is still acting like he's a single college frat boy. He's clearly not even uncomfortable with a supposed attention. Insert person here. "Wants me" is a flex, not an expression of discomfort. At 8 months, he's already showing you this much? What else of his personality is he hiding that he'll bring out once he thinks you're too invested to leave? I agree with the above. Just throw the whole man out. I read your comment and had to scroll back up to check their ages. I thought the guy was like 20 at most, from how stupid that comment was. I'm kind of stunned the guy actually thought that in his head and decided to say it out loud. To his girlfriend, about her mother, wow. But I don't know. It wasn't just the comment. It was the way he doubled down and made it a whole joke at my mom's expense. I've never seen that side of him, and it gave me the biggest ick I've ever felt in my life. You know yourself that this is not acceptable, and he is trying to gaslight you. Unless he's going to take full responsibility and apologies, you know something like this is going to happen again or get even worse. Kicking him out late isn't good, but to be fair, I would worry about him trying to escalate the situation, so I think you did the right thing. As for the embarrassed thing, then yeah, but how you deal with setbacks in life is a major part, and if he kicks his toys out of the pram for this, then I pray for you if you stay with him and you hit a real problem. Next story. Am I the a-hole for deciding to bury my husband with his late wife and young daughter? My husband died very recently after almost 17 years of marriage. He didn't have his wishes written down anywhere, but we had talked about it in passing one time, and he had mentioned wanting to be with his baby girl and his late wife. After he died, that came back to me when I realized he hadn't left any written wishes. My husband's son, 31, wanted him buried with his mother and sister. My daughters, 22 and 24, who my husband took on as his own because their own father is gone and was not a good person, were upset by the idea. They loved my husband. To them, he was their dad. And I know he loved them and thought of them as his own kids too. They wanted a family grave, so there was the potential for us to be with him one day. They struggled with the idea of him going in with a family he lost, but I knew my husband would have wanted it. I knew that was his wish, even if he hadn't stated it in a significant amount of time. So I made the decision to bury him with them. My kids were very upset by this, and my sister is angry. She feels like I took my husband's son's side over my kids. She said it was especially frustrating because we'll never see him again now that my husband is dead. His son was never very happy about mine or my kids' presence in his and his dad's life. I did try, and I love him, but I think I always knew deep down that my husband going first would be the end of any contact between us. That's difficult, but I knew. The problem is, with my kids upset and my sister angry with me, I'm a mess of emotions and undecided on my choice. I'm questioning if I could have handled this better. Am I the a-hole? His burial location was something he and I discussed, and this is what my husband requested. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Honoring his own spoken wish, even if it hurt, was the right thing. It wasn't about choosing sides. It was about love and respect for the life he had before and the peace he wanted in the end. It's beautiful that you loved him enough to do that for him. Not the a-hole. I'm so sorry for your loss. I'll always love him. He was an amazing man, and I'm glad he said something about it, even if it wasn't a serious talk we had about it. This is a teaching moment for your daughters. Life is hard, and not everything is straightforward. Grief is a hard emotion to grapple with and is very personal. But you cannot worry about what you cannot control. This is one of those things. It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's one that everyone on the planet has to grapple with. Also, death plans, just like life plans, will evolve and change over time. Two presumably unmarried adult daughters like the idea of a family burial plot now. If they live to be 80 plus and have children and spouses of their own, which I of course hope for them if that's what they want, they may have a very different idea about their final resting places then. My family owns a burial plot where my uncle was interred in the 1970s. He predeceased his parents and brothers by several decades, and at the time, the family felt some or all of them may one day want to be buried there. 50 years later, they are all gone except my surviving uncle, and none of them were interred there. Some made their wishes very clear and did not request burial there. Others left it up to us surviving heirs, none of whom were alive when our uncle passed. And it honestly didn't even occur to us to inter my dad's cremains with his brother when my uncle mentioned it as a possibility. It was a core relationship for our dad, but for us, we wanted to do things with his cremains that were meaningful for us and our relationship with our dad, which had nothing to do with our uncle. My moral of the story is to always have a written death plan and update it regularly, just like a will. Your heirs don't want to guess and squabble over your wishes. They'd rather know what you wanted. If you want to leave it up to them, say so. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting mad that Dad started doing our special thing with his stepdaughter? Ever since my brother, 18 male, and I, 16 female, were little, we each had a special thing to do with each parent. My brother and Mom used to go ice skating together, and Mom and I went to baking classes together. Dad and my brother always hike in the same place and go to the same diner afterward, and my thing with Dad was to stargaze together and turn it into a picnic. Those things were always something just for me and my brother and the parent we did them with. It wasn't family time. It was something we saved for doing with each other. I remember when I was 9 and my grandpa offered to take me stargazing because Dad was sick, and my dad got so upset with Grandpa, his dad. He was so jealous. I'd never have said yes anyway, but seeing Dad get jealous made me happy because I realized he treasured it too. I told Grandpa I didn't mind waiting for Dad to feel better. After Mom died, the stuff we did with Dad became more important. I was 10 and my brother was 12. 2 years ago, Dad remarried, and Dad kept our special things special for a while. But I found out recently that Dad was doing the stargazing with his stepdaughter, 12. He was keeping it from me, and when I found out, I told him I wasn't doing it with him anymore and that he ruined and spoiled our special thing, and I'd go with Grandpa in the future. My dad got jealous about that, and I screamed at him that he already took someone else, so why can't I? I told him I thought he treasured it, but no, that was just me. That he'd never hike the mountain he and my brother go to with anyone else, and he was like, of course not. My dad ended up telling his stepdaughter they couldn't stargaze anymore. She was really upset. My dad's wife was upset too, and they argued, and now she's angry with me because I'm still mad at my dad and haven't given in and agreed that it's our special thing still. As dumb as it is, the fact Dad wouldn't be okay with me doing it with someone else should prove why he spoiled it for me, especially when he protects his and my brother's things so much. My brother and Dad's wife got into a fight because she was calling me selfish and spoiled and trying to put her daughter's hurt feelings onto me, and my brother defended me. Dad keeps telling me he doesn't want me to see our stargazing as ruined, and he told me he can make it up to me. I told him he can't, and that he knew it was wrong because he lied to me for months, if not more than a year. Right now, I have my dad's wife blaming me and her son, 15. They blame me for their daughter/sister being upset. I told them to blame Dad, but they said she wouldn't be hurt if I had accepted Dad doing it with her too. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, but I feel like your dad's wife is, she has to accept that your dad has his own children too, in my opinion. Agreed here. Not the a-hole. This wasn't about being selfish. It was about feeling hurt and betrayed. Your dad knew that tradition meant something to you, which is why he hid it. That says everything. Wanting to keep one special thing just between you and him, especially after your mom passed, is not unreasonable. It's not on you to make everyone else feel better about a decision he made and he kept secret. It's more than that. The wife is obviously who made this happen. She wants a father figure for her daughter and wants to damage OP's relationship with her father so that he'll turn to her daughter. So she convinced him this would be okay, or else threatened him if he didn't do it. Why do I think this? Because the dad can't possibly have so little imagination that he couldn't think of something non-stargazing to do with his stepdaughter. There's literally every other activity in the world to choose from. The fact that it had to be stargazing can't have come from him. Well, isn't this all a bit of a crap show? Just because Dad lacked creativity doesn't make you the a-hole. All he had to do was think up some other special thing for him to do with stepdaughter. But yet, OP's father didn't want her grandpa to do the star watching with her, but he can do it with his stepdaughter behind her back. That's the part that drives me craziest, because he's still jealous at the idea of me doing it with Grandpa. But he expects me to accept him doing it with his stepdaughter. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not caring that my husband sleeps with other women even though we're married? I, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 38 male, for 4 years. We have 2 young kids together, a 2-year-old son and a 10-month-old daughter. When we got together, he was very upfront with me about the fact that he doesn't believe in strict monogamy. He's always been honest that he sometimes wants to sleep with other women, and I agreed to it under the condition that he'd always be open and respectful about it. No lying, no sneaking around. It's not for everyone, I get that. But for us, it works. I'm not the jealous type, and emotionally, we're very connected. He's a great dad, really involved, and we live comfortably. He owns a few businesses and does very well financially. We live in a nice big house in a gated neighborhood, are able to travel whenever we want, and I've been able to stay home with the kids without worrying about money. The issue started last week when my cousin saw him out at a bar with another woman. She apparently recognized him, took a photo, and sent it to my sister. My sister immediately called me in a panic, saying he's cheating on you. And when I told her that I already knew and that it's not a secret, she completely flipped. She said I was letting myself be disrespected and hurting my kids by staying in a marriage like this. She went off about how I'm setting a horrible example and even said, if you don't tell mom and dad, I will. I tried to explain that it's something we agreed on and that our kids are safe, loved, and have both parents present. But she's acting like I'm being brainwashed or manipulated. I honestly don't see the issue. This is our agreement, and it doesn't affect how we raise our children or how we function as a family. Now I'm stuck with this anxiety about my family finding out and judging me, even though I'm genuinely okay with the arrangement. I feel like they're projecting their values onto my marriage and not even trying to understand that different relationships can work in different ways. Am I the a-hole for not caring that my husband sleeps with other women, even though we're married and have kids? While your marital dynamic may be unusual, it is between you and your husband whether it's okay. Sounds like you were clear with each other at the start. So it's really no one else's business. Also, your family will find out. You know that. You cannot control that. What you can control is whether you tell them or they get the telenovela version from someone like your sister. Not the a-hole. One thing I will say is, please be sure your financial independence is also set up. You speak in terms of being taken care of in your post. If something changes, like he falls in love with someone else and decides to make them his primary partner, are you able to move forward independently? You've chosen an untraditional path, but that doesn't make it the wrong path for you and your family. Own it and be strong. Best of luck to you. Agree on everything here, especially the finance side. Not just in case he falls for another woman, but just life happens. You are a stay-at-home mom and that's your agreement, but you two are partners and your future retirement should be being built up. Sure, he's a lot older and has a lot of assets, so 50-50 of everything may not be something he would agree to, but build toward that. Just make sure you are not financially vulnerable now or when you're 40. I would definitely tell your parents before your sister does. Just you. They're probably going to go through a little shock and adjustment to this revelation. This isn't your relationship, it's mine. He was very upfront, I agreed to it, and I am fine with it. He has rules and he follows them. I feel loved, he's a good husband and a good dad. I would also tell your husband, in case your sister or other family start harassing him. They should direct that to you, but really, since you've already acknowledged it, just keep it to themselves. And to add, OP may not be okay with this in 10 years. We change and grow. But stay communicating and make sure the future is covered. If your husband was going to be out in public with other women in places people who know you could see, you should have expected this conversation at some point.